So the first question was that you create a new Python file with the name loops.py. Then
Yes.
you print the string I am sorry 5 times on the terminal. You print the string I am sorry 5 times in the terminal. We're supposed to. So number two, the number two was actually supposed to be using the range function. So for I in range 5, print uh I'm sorry. So let's run it and see. So it has given us I'm sorry 5 times. We want to number it so that we know the number of times it was printed. That is when we use the I. We use the I as part of it. So the I becomes the index of the each of the index in the range. In the number of times that we want to print, that is in the range. The I is going to represent the numbers, their numbers, the index. So
Okay.
when we print it, it's going to
Okay.
include, so that's why we have here 0. It has included the index of each of the printing. If we want to
Okay.
include the number itself, that is when we add
The
one.
plus one.
Yes, we increase the index by 1 so that it can start counting from 1. Okay, so we
Okay.
have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Except that we computer will start counting from 0 and then move on. So that is number 2. That was the number 2. So that number 3. So it said number 3 says create a variable with the name items. So let's say items. Then it wants us to assign a list in a dictionary using fruit as the key and a list of fruit as the value. So here it is saying that we should use a dictionary, but we should create a list in the dictionary using fruit as the key,
Okay.
vegetables as the key.
Fruit. Yeah.
So here we declare a dictionary, and then we will call the first key. The key is fruit, right? Then we bring our column here. Then we create the list because it's saying the fruit. So we bring the bracket here. Then we create our fruit in it. So what are some of the fruit that we have? We have oranges. Then we have apple. So this is what we are supposed to do in the first place. We have our fruit, our strength as key. That is, so we have fruit, we have vegetables, and then we have grains as 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 the key. And with their values, we assigned a list to it as a value. So number 5 is saying print the values of the list using their keys. So we want to print the list using the keys. So here we can say um, print, and if you want to print the keys, you need to call up the variable. So we call up the variable items, then our square bracket. So you see that has brought me the keys. So
Yes.
items dot fruit, comma, let's print the fruit alone. So now we have the fruit here: oranges, apples. Hey, what did I write? Manage. So we have the fruit being printed here,
Okay.
but we are supposed to print all of them. There are 3 lists assigned to 3 keys.
Okay.
So we are supposed to print all of them. So what we are going to do is that we are going to use the for loop to print each of them.
Okay.
We are going to use the for loop to print each of them. So we use for I in items. For I in items, then we will print the I. So we print the I. So for I in items, let's print the I and see. So it has given us fruits, vegetables, and grains. That is the keys.
Okay.
That's giving us the keys. So in order to access the keys alongside with their values, we add I. We print the I. Then I hope you know how to access values with their keys. Okay, so the best thing we can do right now is that we will use their index to access them, or we use their keys
Okay.
to access them. So let me cut it short here. Items. So let's print it and see. So we have fruit. Then it is printing oranges, apples, mangoes, and banana. And here it will print vegetables and still print um, oranges, apples, and banana because we are printing the items dot fruit. So we can maybe print items vegetables and items grains. Now there's a way we can avoid this long code, but I'll just.
Okay.
But this one is going to count all of them together. It's going to put all of them together because you are saying that you print for each in the items. You should print um, the 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 fruit, the vegetables, and then the grains. So it's going to print fruit and print all of them, all the list together, and print vegetables and print all of them together. We can access. Let's access the values so that you'll be able to print their. Let's access the key so that we'll be able to print their values. So just do the print, call the print function, and then call items dot keys. This one was not. We print fruit. So the fruit is the key to this one. So let's print the fruit and
Okay.
see what's happening. So we print items and then we use the key that is fruit. So it's going to print to us
Yes.
the values, the list in the fruit. That is oranges, apples, mangoes, and banana. And then we can also print out items, grains, then items dot vegetables. So we print it here. And then now we have oranges, apples, mangoes, rice, maize, beans, onions, pepper, carrot. So this is how we access dictionary with their using their keys. Using their keys. So in the assignment, this is what we're supposed to do. We will use their keys to access is number 5, print values of the list using their keys. Yes. So we will use them using the keys. We will print the values using the keys. So the keys are fruits, vegetables, and grains. And before we access the key, we need to call the variable. So the variable is items. So items in square bracket, fruits. Then items in square bracket, grains. Items in square bracket, vegetables. So in the number 6 was that we should use the for loop to use the for loop for statement to print each list using their keys. So this is what we're doing. So for I in items, for each of the I in items, we should print items dot fruit. Um, I don't know. This one is supposed to. So, okay, so it has printed it 3 times. It has printed it 3 times for us because there are 3 keys in the items list, items dictionary. And then the B was that you create a variable with the name counting numbers in camel casing. So yeah, what is the solution is that you are going to start counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It said in range 60. So it's going to start counting from 1 to 60, right? We want it to count from, and counting number starts from 1. 0 is not part of it. So we are supposed to add 1 to the I so that it can count from 1 to 60. So this is what we're supposed to do. So counting number, it says in camel case, in counting numbers, then equals. So here we have to assign it to 0 because you're going to increase it. So counting numbers equals 0. Then we said that counting numbers equals 0. So that is the variable.
Okay.
And here we are saying that while counting numbers equals counting numbers, that means that while counting numbers is equals 0.
For 0. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Because now we said that counting numbers equals 0. So if
0.
counting numbers is the same as counting numbers, then here we will say print counting numbers plus we want to increase them by 1 plus equals 1. Okay, so what this is going to do is that it's going to print from 1 to 60 and then continue to run. So what are and continue to start from 0, 1 to 60, 1 to 60, 1 to 60, 1 to 60. So sorry, I had to respond to this message. Counting numbers equals 0. You see, we are supposed to use while. So while counting numbers equals 0. So this means that this statement is true. While this statement is true, let's start over so that while counting numbers equals 0 or while counting numbers equals counting numbers, it is the same thing. It is the same thing. Or we can just say while counting numbers equals true because we have assigned 0 to it. So while counting numbers equals true or while counting numbers equals 0 or while counting numbers equals counting numbers. As long as counting numbers equals 0, counting numbers plus equals 1. So here you are supposed to add each time that the program runs, you are supposed to add 1 to the counting numbers. But here we want to limit it to count up to 60. We want to count up to 60. Count up to 60. So for I in range 60, for I in range 60, for I in range 60, I'll clean the first one so that for I in counting numbers plus equals 1. So for I in range 60, counting numbers plus equals 1. Counting numbers. Let's use this approach and see. So it is printing more than we are expecting. It's adding, anytime it runs, it's adding 1 to the number. So it's printing more than, if you have something like this, it will print up to 60. But the while loop is quite stubborn. I don't know. You see that we have gotten up to 60. We use the while when we want to continually run the code. So while does not usually have an end until we cancel it. Some of the codes are JavaScript, so I don't know. Okay, so we are supposed to count from 1 to 60. So I think the best way to do it right now is that we use the 4.
The 4.
Yes, the 4 range, the 4 loop to get it done. So when we print this one, it's going to start from 0 count up to 60 and then print end as we added the if statement here.
Okay.
So it started from 1, printed up to 60 and then printed end. Okay, so let's do something here. Let's clean this file and let's go over this file some. So we want to create a variable like this. Maybe student. Okay, let's do it. Gender. Then we create a list and then call male, then female. So gender equals male and then female. Then let's give an input like this. So let's create a variable x and call it input. So enter gender here. So I hope you know how to use the input.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then we say while x equals gender, print maybe hello. So here we are saying that as long as x equals gender, we should print hello. Okay. As long as x, what we will type here, equals what is in the gender variable, we should print hello. So let's run it and see. So we want us to type our gender. So let's type male. So it did not print anything because male is not equal to gender, because gender equals male and female. So here, if you want us to maybe for in while x in, yes, okay, while x in. So if what we type here is in a gender or male, we should print hello. So let's run it again.
Okay.
Male. So it is giving us hello, 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 unlimited.
Okay, because of the why.
Yes, yes, and then our condition is also met. So it is printing hello, 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 hello. So list iterations. Now there's more to list. So imagine that we have created our list and then we have forgotten that there was one person that we did not add. We cannot go back to our list and make the changes, but there are ways that we can actually write another code which will automatically add the number of the person who we could not add to the list. So imagine we have students equals, then we create their list for them. So students equals Kofi. Then we come to Same. Then we go to Isaac. Then we come to maybe Moses. Now we have forgotten. Then we come to realize that we have forgotten some students who are supposed to be part of it. We can add these students to it without going back to change it. So we can just print the student. So just say print students, and then it will print the student that we have for us. So it has printed Kofi, Sami, Isaac, Moses. But here we want to add some people to it. So here we can use the list.append. We have something we call append. Append. And append means to add at the bottom of a list. We also have pop. And the pop means to remove a list or a member of a list from the bottom, from at the far side of the list. So at the last, if you want to remove the last person, for instance, you want to remove Moses, we just use pop, and then to remove Moses from it. If you want to append, we can do that. We also have, we use the square bracket. We use the square bracket, and then we will print it. So so we want to append equal to the list. That is, we want to add equal to the list. So here we have Kofi, Sami, Isaac, Moses, and now the latter we have Ekua. That means the Ekua has been added to the list. When we printed first, we did not have so let's print student first, then we will come and then append to the list, and then so we will print the list first. And we printed the list. We had Kofi, Sami, Isaac, Moses, and then later on we appended Ekua to it. And then we also have Kofi, Sami, Isaac, Moses, and then Ekua. We can also do student dot pop. So let's run it. So we use student dot pop. So it will remove the last one. That is the last member of the list. So that is Ekua. So it gave us, it still printed Kofi, Sami, Isaac. So now let's remove this one so that we know what we are doing. So let's print again. We have Moses, we have Kofi, Sami, Isaac, Moses, because now we have removed one person from here. So we have a list of students. That is, we have Kofi, we have Sami, we have Isaac. When we want to print the student, when we print students, it's going to print, we all know that it's going to print Kofi, Sami, Isaac, and Moses. But the other things that we can add to it, that is, maybe we have forgotten somebody's name and we want to now add it. So we can use the student dot append. And now we are going to add the name that we want to append to it. So we want to append somebody's name, a different person's name to it. Maybe we want to append Apple to it. When we run it, then let's print student. Now we have added one more person, that is Apple, to it. So let's print it and see what we get. So we now have Kofi, Sami, Isaac, Moses, and then Apple. But in the first instance, Apple is not actually part of the initial list. We added it to it. Just added it to it. We can extend the list. So we can extend the list. So have you got it now? Okay. So you want to add multiple to it. So maybe we want to add multiples, like as we said, we want to add more names to it. It's a list, so you need to put them in a list. That is, you use the square bracket, and it's going to put this one as a list to it. So here we have Kofi, Sami, Isaac, Moses, Apple, Kojo. We added Apple and Kojo to it. So in the same way, we can also extend them by everything here. So we can copy the same thing we have here and then add to the same list. So we have Kofi, Sami, Isaac, Moses, Kofi, Sami, Isaac, Moses. So that's what we use the extend, and it must be in a list form. So let's use numbers and see. Let's use numbers. So we have numbers here because put them in a list. 1, 3, 5, 2, 135. Now the only difference is that when you use the bracket, the ordinary bracket, you cannot use the append. But when you use the square bracket, you give it an open space that you can add more numbers to it. Imagine we have 1357. We can open it up. That's what I wanted us to do. We can use add numbers here, and then ask the user to input his own number. That is why it will be added to it. So enter your number. Okay. So whatever the user types, it will be added to the main list. So here we'll come and say numbers dot append what the user will type. So we'll call what the user will type, that is add numbers. So whatever the user types, we are going to add to it. So you understand. So let's run it and see. So let's type 0. You see that in the list you have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and now 0 has been added onto it. Now 0 was added as a string. That is why it is in a quotation mark.
Okay.
So it's added as a string, but we can call. You know how we want them to. Yes, we can use the int so that the 0 becomes an integer. 0 will now be an integer. So let's type 0 again. We type 0. You see that it has been accepted as a string. So in the same way, maybe we want to have maybe student. You can actually set a variable to be empty. So let's say people equals empty list. Then you know that you're going to ask the users to input their names there. So new users, then equals input. You call the input function. Then ask them to enter your name here. Okay. Then you are going to tell them that now people equals people dot append. So what are you going to append? You're going to append whatever the new user types. Then you have to print it out. Print people. So let me run it again. We want the second code to function. So enter name here, Samuel. Now the list has come. You have Samuel. Print is a function. It's a built-in function. But there are other ways that we can also define our own function. Python allows us to also create our own function, which will perform our own function that we give to it. So whatever we want our function to do, that's what it's going to do. So in order to create our own function, we have to call the define function keyword, that is def. It means define. Then we will create our own function. So the function we are going to create is that say hi. You can give it any name. Now functions end with brackets, so you end to it. So this is our own function. Python does not know say hi. We are creating it. So when we create it, then we add our colon to it. Now we have said you should the function's name is say hi. So now what is it going to do? What is say hi going to do? So here we declare what it's supposed to do for us. So we want it to print hi. So we want our function to just print hi. And after we want it to print hi, we have to call the function. So you see that when we are using print, we just say print, and then we add our bracket to it. So the same thing we are doing here, say hi. So here we have to also call our function that say hi. Now say hi has been accepted by Python as one of its functions, but we have created it. So when I click on say hi, it will print say hi for me. Now we can add more things to it so that it can greet people that are using our software. So here we add something we call parameter. Inside this, we have something we call parameter, and the parameter is what we are going to assign to our function. So let's assign a parameter called name. So here it should greet the name. All right. So say hi name, and now you should you should say hi name. So where do we put the name? The name we are going to put it inside our when we are calling the function. So we want the user to type the name so that our function will greet the user. So we say enter your name. Enter your name. So whatever name that will be applied here, that will be typed here. Our software is going to create that name. I'll not add the input. So input. So yes, we are calling the input function. So when we print it, it's asking us to type our name. So our name is Samuel. So it's saying that hi Samuel. So our function comes with a parameter. Our function comes with a parameter, and the parameter is name. So the parameter is kind of a variable. It's like we have created a variable called name, and we are assigning an input function to it to enter the name. Okay, so it's the same as this. Let me do something for you to see. It's same as maybe name equals input. Then we say enter your name. Enter your name. Then we see print hi. Then we'll add name to it. The same thing. This is exactly what we are doing. This is exactly what we are doing, but we are putting that in function.
Okay.
So you understand. So when I run it, say that enter your name. My name is Samuel. To say hi Samuel, and now we come to the function. My name Isaac, and I say hi Isaac. It's the same thing we have done here in function. So do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is what we can also do. We can create our own functions in Python, and then we call them whenever we need it. But the reason why the more advantage to this one is that you see that this one we have created a variable to it. We cannot call it anywhere again. But this one, whenever we call the say hi function, it will just print it for us anytime that we need it. We can call it like using the print. It has been built into Python. So anytime we need it, we just call the print function and it does something for us. So here, can call it multiple times. See, that one is just 2 lines, so can call it multiple times, and each time we run it, we can type different names to it. So let's run it. Enter your name, Sammy. Enter your name, Akos. The same function. Enter your name, Isaac. So it can be called multiple times. Enter your name. It can be called multiple times. So this is the advantage in functions. So do you understand?
Yes.
So we use function so that we'll be able to call them anytime that we want. So let's create another function here. So the keyword is def. Then we say add numbers. Then we create our parameter. Okay. So we want to add numbers. Now, since we want to add numbers, there must be two or more, right? So we create two parameters, maybe add numbers. So let's say add numbers 2, 4. Okay, add numbers sum. So we just say print the sum of your numbers is, then here we say sum. We call the sum here. And now we have to call our functions to work. So we just say add numbers. Now in add numbers, we have to call the input function so that it can add the numbers that we will type. Okay. It can ask for the user to type the numbers that, or we can just input any number to it, maybe 2, 5. So we declare it here that 2 plus 5. So whenever we call the add numbers function, it's going to operate 2 plus 5. So okay. let me comment this one out. I don't want us to run code. So our function is saying that the sum of your numbers is what? 7.
7.
So do you understand now?